And True Grave says, I never got this cultish criticism of Trump supporters. They have their own reasons for voting for him. They're not just blindly supporting the guy. You don't have to agree with their reasoning. That doesn't mean it's non existent. Sure, Trump is charismatic, but he's not a cult leader. I think it's perfectly reasonable to say, hey, look at the country now and look at it under Trump. Which one's better? Okay, to put it in actual, like, painstaking, almost autistic detail, I have been like differentiating for the last at least a year, longer than that even, between Trump cultists and casual Trump supporters. There is a big difference that I keep on painstakingly differentiating for the last few months, or a year or longer than that. I do not know if a True Grave ever actually watched me like state about that, but I have like stated it in the past.
And FYI to anybody who might be listening now or in the future, if you're a casual, emphasis on casual Trump supporter, I personally have no problem with that. I don't care. It's Trump cultists specifically that I have a problem with, and Loudmouth mostly has a problem with. It's those types of people who go using Trump as a litmus test to see of how good of a conservative that you are or not.
But to put it succinctly right here as much as I can, I mean, actually, to help me out, I'm going to throw up a clip of a ranting monkey, as he even goes mentioning the aspect of Trump cultism.
That was just the talking point of the Trump zealots. Because for all the TDS out there, there's now the Trump cult. There really is a group of these people who are fucking insane.
Oh yeah, a little too much time on their hands.
Like, if any of y'all do not take me so seriously, take seriously Ranting Monkey, who honestly has been a whole lot more charitable to Donald Trump than I am. He's plenty of charitable to Donald Trump, a little bit more charitable than I would sometimes like, but I still like the guy, and he still addresses that there is, in fact, a cultish element within some of a Trump support base. So, yeah, even he has a little bit of differentiation. But if I am to, like, give my own differentiation of what makes a casual keyword on the adjective casual Trump supporter is somebody who supports him because of his policies. Maybe they're able to like actually admit some of the criticisms of Trump, not just personality wise, but also some policy things that Trump did that they don't like, but they also like some of his policies as well. And they go thinking that he is one of the lesser of two evils, or maybe they even do solidly support him somewhat, but still not going to be like alienating to any of those within the Republican voting base who was kind of hesitant or even refusal to support Trump in everything that he does, kind of hesitant to vote for him, and definitely does not just support him in like 100% of the stuff he does. Whereas Trump cultists will brand you as some heretic that should be burned at the stake if you dare even differentiate away from the Trump cult of a personality. You are hesitant to vote for him, or maybe you don't vote for him at all, as Never Trumpers have. And by the way, I might emphasize that there are some Never Trumpers that are not rhinos. Ben Shapiro is one of those non-rhino Never Trumpers, and I was one of those non-rhino Never Trumpers. I mean, I was critical of Mitch McConnell back in the day. I mean, or I cannot say that I was vocally critical, because this was before that I actually got commentating on politics, but still, there are those of us who do not agree with the Republican establishment at all, but at the same time had our reservations for voting for Trump. So yeah, that's a differentiation, long and short of it, of rhino Never Trumpers and actual like conservative / libertarian Never Trumpers who were registered Republican. But Trump cultists, not only will they alienate those who like just go deviating even just a little bit from Trump and his beliefs and all that sort of stuff, but one other thing that I also classify as a Trump cultist mentality, honestly, is the Trump litmus test, as I have been noticing. There are some like whole Republican campaigns that go running off of the mantra of being pro-Trump, quote unquote, as if that is a prerequisite for you to be an actual conservative Republican worthy of voting for in any election. Apparently, I guess you have to fall behind Trump in order to win an election nowadays, or at least that's the mindset of some people within the Republican party nowadays. Anyways, you have to be pro-Trump, otherwise you are not a good conservative, or or you're just a rhino or anything else like that. Like, I even have like one particular person within my family who has literally no policy criticisms towards Trump. Like, for example, of how that he signed the 2 stimulus packages towards the tail end of his administration. Not to mention the spinelessness on gun that he has when it comes to gun rights that he had back in the day and all that stuff. I mean, you could just feign it to like just plain old ignorance and not actual like, oh, I'm just gonna ignore or even like completely play apologetics to all the stuff that I would disagree with otherwise if it wasn't Trump. But still, but still, it was just rather baffling. What was even more baffling was that same person says that Ron DeSantis is untrustworthy just because of the mere fact alone that he would even run for the Republican presidential nomination here in 2024 against Donald Trump and every other Republican that was running for the nomination during the appropriate time. That's absolutely insane. Trump is not the God Emperor. He is not absolutely perfect. And even I, like when the Republican primary of this year was still going on, thought that Ron DeSantis was better policy-wise. Heck, I'd probably even say that Vivek Ramaswamy was a little bit more squeaky clean as far as policies go, or at least he doesn't have a proven track record of being spineless on guns, at least anyways, as far as I know and recall. Not to mention even like Doug Burgum, as far as I know, was probably would have been a better like policy wise. I mean, not to say that he would have actually won or anything like that, but all the same, I mean, there's Trump is not perfect. And if people want to like support other people, then that should not be the litmus test for whether or not that they are a good conservative. Or nor should it be like the ultimate litmus test that if you dare run against Trump during XYZ primary or somebody else who is like pro-Trump in whatever primary for whatever type of election, that, oh, therefore they're just automatically not a good conservative and they should be just completely dismissed from even consideration of voting for. It's just, yeah, it's that kind of attitude that is definitely cultish. Another good example of Trump cultism is if you are willing to sell out on the truth to try and protect the guy. Like, for example, back in 2016, Steve Bannon, who was like running Breitbart at the time, he was trying to cover up the whole story of Corey Lewandowski, I believe it was, who practically assaulted the one libertarian, I think she was a reporter that was trying to go up and ask questions to the Trump campaign at the time. And yeah, he tried to suppress that story, say that that one Breitbart reporter should not report about it. Ben Shapiro, it's the thing that made Ben Shapiro quit Breitbart, is of how that Steve Bannon was trying to suppress that story. So the guy, yeah, that guy is absolutely a Trump cultist, just willing to completely sell out on the facts and the truth just to protect the guy. Another very good example, better example even, is Mark Levin back in 2020 of when that he was like talking about Michael Bloomberg, like throwing around his money all over the place when it comes to different political candidates and them running for office and so forth. And then he says, Trump didn't do that. When this guy, Mark Levin, was one of the most fervent critics of Trump back in the primaries of 2016. So obviously he would have known about Trump, like throwing around his money to both Republicans and Democrats back before 2016. So for Mark Levin to have actually denied this was an absolute bald-faced lie to try and protect Donald Trump and his reputation. Absolute cultist mentality right there. Now, obviously, Sarah Gonzalez, I cannot say that, or I cannot think of any example of her like actually selling out on the truth, but it's this attitude that she goes thinking that Trump is entitled to every Republican, registered Republican's vote. That seems pretty cultist. The "you shall fall in line or else" kind of attitude, it seems. And also another example of somebody being like rather entitled, thinking that Trump is entitled to all Republican support would be Mark Dice. I'm going to throw that screen cap up on the screen as well. So if I need to like go into any further detail of the difference between Trump cultists and casual Trump supporters, then I guess I can or will, but I think that's a good starting point. Actually, I do not even know if there's like anything more that I can say about the differences between Trump cultists and casual Trump supporters. I mean, it doesn't get more obvious than those examples I brought forth right there.